Hey guys, it's Ryan Reviews the Magic here, and like many enthusiasts, I've done various small trips of one or two parks in a couple of days, but I've always wanted to do a major multi park trip. I finally was able to do my first multi park trip visiting six different parks and spending 8 days at parks in a 10-day span. And I walked away with 11 tips that I think make a huge difference. Some of these are simple, some are game changers, and one could even save you hundreds of dollars. So please stick around through these tips, and by the end, you'll know how to get more out of your trips with less stress. My first tip is separate Disney and Universal parks and other kind of regional amusement parks into different trips or different legs. The reality is that like the Disney and Universal parks have a bit longer hours than like the Six Flags parks do, and that results in a little bit different day-to-day flow on trips when you're at these parks. And so for me, I would definitely recommend being like, hey, we're going to do Disney Universal in like a week, or that's just going to be a whole trip. And then, oh, we'll do a bunch of Six Flags parks together in one trip or one leg of the trip. You're going to have an easier time kind of flowing between your parks. That was a big, I think, struggle area of my trip, as I had like a bunch of Disney parks doing Disney and DCA kind of several days throughout a week, but also had hit up like Knott's a couple days and Six Flags Magic Mountain in sort of the middle of all of that. Well, Knott's at the beginning and the Magic Mountain was kind of randomly in the middle. And that resulted in kind of an ebb and flow of my trip that resulted in me taking a little bit of less optimized decisions on what I did at certain parks. My second tip is to check the time of year you're visiting carefully. One of the biggest regrets I had on this trip, we planned it sort of in the middle-ish of June, which was fine, but this particularly at Knott's Berry Farm resulted in a little bit of an issue of that we were in June, which was still like a busy season for Knott's, but it also was before they started up Summer Nights and Ghost Town Alive and those kinds of things. So we missed a lot of like Knott's shows and like really cool vibe things that happen at Knott's in the summer, while also still having to deal with the crowds of the summer. That's one thing that I kind of regret about this trip. While our other parks I think worked out fine for time of year, that was one that really there was a struggle area. And so it made me think of, hey, it's really important to think through what time you're visiting. If you want to avoid crowds, it may be better to choose a less crowded time of year. So like if it's a year-round park, doing something like February might result in less crowd levels and would be better to do. Or if something like Ghost Town Alive is important to you, then maybe you want to do one of these trips more in like July or August. Think really hard and research the time of year and what's going on at the parks that you're going to. My third tip is to rope drop every park. As I mentioned, we were in the middle of June, which was a fairly crowded time, and I mentioned that Knott's we had to deal with pretty big crowd levels while missing the shows in the previous tip. However, by rope dropping every park, we actually were able to do everything we wanted to do fairly easily, actually. It's just really nice because basically most people don't show up to a park before it opens and hang out by the front gate. And so when you rope drop a park, the crowd levels for that first hour or so at the park are way, way lower everywhere. And so even on extremely busy days, it's really easy to hit five, six, seven major rides in the span of an hour as long as you're rope dropping the park. And that will make the rest of your day a lot easier. We're like, okay, now we're dealing with the crowds. Well, we can be a little more relaxed, right? You're not sitting there like, oh man, all the rides I want to do have an hour plus wait. Am I going to have enough time to do this? Like, no, you don't have to worry about that if you're able to hit a large amount of the stuff you want to do in that first hour, because then you can kind of be a little more relaxed and be a little more like, okay, I can bite the bullet and wait an hour and a half for this ride or whatever. So like seriously, do it. It's going to allow you to just get more stuff done. Rope drop is super useful. My fourth tip is to watch local creators for park specific tips. While a lot of the like big creators do have nice useful information that's like helpful, the local creators of each park know specific things about their park that those big creators just couldn't possibly know. And so I really, really, really recommend looking up local creators for each park on your trip. A great example I can think of is Bay Area Attractions. When I was doing the Bay Area parks on this trip, he knows so much about California's Great America and Six Flags Discovery Kingdom. And so just watching a lot of his videos really smoothed out a lot of my planning on those two parks. So like seriously, watch those local creators. They know their parks extremely well. And because of that, like the information they can give you is absolutely game changing when you're at those parks. My fifth tip is give yourself generous pacing. One of the biggest challenges that I ran into on my trip is that my first week of the trip involved like 6 consecutive days at parks. And as a result, I had a lot of fear of burning out over the course of those 6 days. And so we started at Knott's Berry Farm, and as a result, I actually didn't stay into the evening at Knott's Berry Farm to like see the ride's lights or to get a night ride on Ghost Rider, which is a huge regret because I was afraid of burning out. And it turns out, for me at least, I could have actually been able to do that. I realized I had plenty of energy by the end of the week. However, similarly, if you aren't afraid of burnout and you do something similar and be like, oh, I have 6 straight days at parks, you may actually burn out. And then instead, like the end of the trip, you're like, oh, end of the week, Magic Mountain, I'm not going to get a night ride on X2 or whatever, right? And so like you can see the problem that comes up here if you have too many days in a row is that you're going to struggle to figure out how to pace yourself. And until you've done something like this, you really don't know what pace you're capable of. And so especially on your first trip where you're doing a ton of parks, I would really recommend making your pacing generous. Have days off, have days between parks, things like that that really like let you rest and slow down so that way you can give each park the level of energy that you want to give that park. For my sixth tip, I recommend using a travel agency. While we didn't do this ourselves on this particular trip, just due to the fact that my wife is very good at planning a lot of things like this, not everyone has somebody like my wife that is really good at planning things. And so taking advantage of travel agencies that know how to plan trips like this is super, super helpful, right? And it's going to save you a lot of planning time and really set you up for success. And that's where Getaway Today comes in. Getaway Today is specifically a sort of Southern California, Orlando. They also do things like Hawaii as well, but like they do the Southern California and Orlando area theme parks, and they plan trips for all these parks all the time. And so they know all the little details of hotels, tickets, all that kind of thing. What are good days to go? Like seriously, take advantage of Getaway Today. They know what they're doing, and right now is actually a fantastic time to go to Getaway Today because right now Getaway Today is doing two really awesome sales at the same time. The first one they are doing is they're doing 2026 tickets at 2025 prices. We all know that inflation is going crazy right now. And so seriously, save yourself a year's worth of inflation by buying your 2026 tickets now at Getaway Today. But it gets even better than that because right now they are also doing their adults at kids prices deal, which means that you can get your tickets for 2026 for adults at 2025 kids prices. That's like over half off on tickets. Go check them out. This deal is not going to be lasting much longer. So like right now is the best time to be buying your 2026 tickets at Orlando or Southern California area parks by going to Getaway Today, and you'll get some really great just travel planning help with it. So please check out the affiliate link in the description below. It really supports the channel when you go to buy those tickets because I know you want to buy and plan your 2026 trips. So go and do it. And on top of that, if you use the promo code Ryan Reviews, you get an extra $10 off. So go check out Getaway Today. My seventh tip is to get a season pass, especially a season pass of like big chains. So like Six Flags, for example. Six Flags, they have their all park passport. Buy it. It's awesome. Okay. Like even if you aren't doing something like their MVP sale, which at the time of this video going up is probably over. It is still going on at the time of this recording, but it still pays for itself like their regular timing of doing the all park passport still pays for itself in like 3 or 4 trips. If you're hitting up several Six Flags parks in a trip, which is one of the best reasons to do one of these kind of big trips. In fact, that actually was what triggered this trip was the ability to do all 4 of the California Six Flags parks on one pass. Do it. It's going to save you a lot of money. It's super convenient. Absolutely go and do it. And along with that, for tip number 8, we're going to say get the dining pass. Most parks have a dining pass. The dining pass will save you a ton of money on food. Meals often at parks can be like $20 for a meal. It's terrible. But the dining pass is usually like $30 for a day and gets you a meal like every 90 minutes. Check out the dining pass. It'll save you a lot of money. And as a little bonus tip here, I also would say do the drink pass add-on. Getting a drink like every 15 minutes is awesome. It really does like help you stay hydrated, also can save you a lot of money because like drinks are expensive at parks. And it's super important. This is another little bonus tip that is not one of my 11 tips, but like you need to stay hydrated at parks. There's nothing worse than getting dehydrated at a park. Didn't happen to me on this trip, but it happened to me once many, many years ago, and I will never allow myself to get dehydrated at a park again. So the drink pass can really help with avoiding dehydration by just drinking all the time. But yeah, dining pass, get the drinks add on, do it. Save yourself a lot of money. For my ninth tip, I would say sequence your rides carefully if credit milestones matter to you. So if you're a coaster enthusiast and you really care about like your coaster credits and you're coming up on a milestone, make sure you really plan out what that looks like if this matters to you. I had a situation for me on this trip where I was coming up on a credit milestone that ended up hitting at California's Great America, and I decided I wanted to make Railblazer that credit milestone. Unfortunately, I kind of ran into a situation where I think I had to do like 7 coasters to hit the credit milestone. So like Railblazer had to be like my 7th of the day or something, or maybe it was 6th, I think actually. And then I hit like Gold Striker first, and so then I ran into the situation where Railblazer was down and was kept going down a lot. And so I was having trouble getting on Railblazer while I was on the cusp of this credit milestone. And like the only other option I had was Patriot. And I didn't really want Patriot to be that credit milestone. I really wanted to be like a really good coaster. And so that added stress to that day that I didn't need to have. If I would have, pushed Gold Striker back, I could have had the option to do either or, and that would have made it a little less stressful at that point. I definitely would say, like, yeah, if this is important to you, plan that out. Like, figure out exactly what things you're wanting to hit, plan out your day accordingly. If this doesn't matter to you, just hit the rides that you want to ride. For my 10th tip, I would say take the opportunity to try other things out besides just doing a bunch of rides. I personally am a huge ride guy, so like rides are my main thing, and especially roller coasters. But like it can be really awesome to just sit down and watch a show. Like it's really helpful. One, it helps kind of just balance out your trip and provide a little more diversity to your trip as a whole when you do this. But also, like, it also really helps you with some of that pacing and avoiding burnout. If you're just running from ride to ride to ride to ride to ride to ride to ride, you will get tired very quickly. You're running around a lot, you're standing in line for a long time. That's going to wear you down quickly. Well, if you sit down and go, I'm maybe not necessarily the biggest fan of Turtle Talk with Crush, though Turtle Talk with Crush is pretty great. But let's go do it. That lets us, hang out in some AC, stop for a second, spend 30 minutes sitting down. Like, it's great. So, like, seriously, or like sticking with Disney parks, I think of some good Disney park options where this happened on our trip. We spent some time where we just stopped on Main Street and just sat down on a bench, watched the marching band go by, watched the Dapper Dans, saw a cavalcade. Like, we just sat there for like a couple hours on Main Street. This type of stuff is really helpful for 2 reasons, right? Like I said, it's going to help you have a more balanced trip, more well-rounded trip. It's going to add a lot of new things to your trip besides just, hey, I'm getting all these rides in. But it also really helps you slow down, and it's especially good to do this at like the heat of the day when it's really hot and the parks are at their busiest. And for my 11th tip, wear cargo shorts with zip pockets. Now, most of the enthusiasts out here are probably already aware of this one and probably already do it. But if you're not an enthusiast, do this. Don't even consider wearing anything other than cargo shorts with zipper pockets at any amusement park. There's several reasons why you want to do this. The primary reason really just has to do with rides and such. So a lot of rides, you have to deal with issues with like loose articles. A lot of rides will have a place for you to put your stuff. So like a great example is I think like Twisted Colossus or like Incredicoaster both have like a zipper pocket on them. And so like they may have things like that, or maybe they'll have bins or a place for you to store stuff on the station, but sometimes they don't. You don't really want to like get up there and be in a situation where they're like, oh, you need to, throw away your water bottle or whatever, or you can't ride this ride, or have to deal with, some of the issues of possibly your stuff getting stolen out of a bin. You just don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, right? And so like the zipper pockets are just super helpful. They're also just helpful throughout the day. Like as you're walking around the park, it's nice to just have a secure place to put things with you, right? Like, because sometimes you don't want to be carrying a bag all day. And so it's nice to be able to have like a bag tucked away, or like in our case, like we had a stroller because of my daughter stroller. And so like being able to like put my bag in the stroller, but still being able to keep things stored with me because I had a zipper pocket is awesome. Zipper pockets are your best friend at amusement parks. They just are. They're extremely convenient. They help you with dealing with loose article policies other than ones that have like the whole airport security situation, which I don't think any of the parks that we went to on this trip had anything like that, but that does exist. Seriously, it helps you out with the loose articles. It helps you with just being able to keep stuff with you. Have zipper pockets. If you don't have something with zipper pockets and you're going to a park, go buy something with zipper pockets. Just go do it now. Those were 11 lessons that I learned from my first big multi-park trip. Which of these did you think was most helpful? Or if you're a person who's done your own multi-park trip, do you have any tips that you think would be helpful for other people for their trips? Please leave those tips in the comments below. I would love to have a bunch of tips for various viewers to check out. Like, let's make everybody's trips more convenient with this video. Thank you for watching this video, and if you're planning your own trip, please don't forget to use that affiliate link in the description below with Getaway Today. And use the promo code Ryan Reviews to save yourself a little extra money. And of course, please like and subscribe. It really supports the channel. And until next time, have a magical day.